Okay, so this one is 35 thousandths. You've got to make 35 with the 5 in the thousandths. So I'm making 35 with 5 in the thousandths. No empty squares. So that's what it should look like. I've got an and, so that means a decimal. I'm making 9. I'm making 235 with 5 in the thousandths. So a 9 with the and, 235, 5 in the thousandths, 235. So 9 and 235 thousandths. There's another and. Decimal. 800. I think I saw some people were getting this one wrong. 800. Then I have 5 thousandths. So 800. I saw some people just doing 8. 800. 5 in the thousandths place. 800. 5 thousandths. This one with the fraction, 8 thousandths. 28 thousandths. So then you've got the 8 in the thousandths place, 28. If you've got any of these wrong, you need to correct them. It doesn't do you any good to have things wrong, because then you'll think that they're right. If you have a question at some point, make sure that you ask. So I've got the large number, my whole number goes in front, 7. Then 528 thousandths. Whole number of 300. 502. Oh, my bad. Express each of the following values in words. So I have my decimal, I have a 0, I have a 0, and I have an 8. So I have no numbers, I have an 8. Look up, I'm in the thousandths. So how do you say that one?
8,000.
8 thousandths. I have that. The decimal, 0, a 6, and a 2. How do I say that one?
15 and 6,000.
Exactly. 15 and 62 thousandths. This one got a little bit tricky for some people in first period. They had to really retrain their brain not to say and more than once. So, anyone want to take a shot at how to say this one?
607 and 409.
Thousand. So 607, not 607. 607 and 409. Can't leave off that 9. Thousandths. That's how you say it. And you don't want to say 607 and 409 thousandths. There are not 3 decimals in there. 607 and 409 thousandths. And yes, this place value behind the decimal can go farther. We typically won't go farther than that, but it will. Yeah, your stop's there. But like you can go, like if I went here, you would actually say 607 and 4,096 10,000. You would just go to the next place value behind there. So 607 and 40,965 100,000. It gets more difficult the farther back. So after a while, I stop saying it and I go 607.40965. I stop because it gets extremely difficult to say it back there. You know, after a while, you're like, okay, how do I say that? Because it gets really hard to say. But after a while, I mean, because decimals and numbers, they go forever that way and forever that way. So, you know, after a while, I just stopped trying to say it. But we will pretty much stop right there with you having to name it. We're not going to stop making them, but you'll stop having to name it right there. Now, I was, what? Naming them? I don't know. Now, I know that before I had brought up this morning that some people are always wondering, why do, what? Why do I have to learn this? They're always a big, you know, like, I've never used this. I will never use this. You know, me having to write numbers in word form, aside from teaching it to you, I never write numbers in word form. But should you know how to, spell numbers? Yeah, you know how to spell. But taking numbers and breaking them down into expanded form, is that something that I use on the daily? No. I don't bust up in Walmart and be like, all right, let me take my numbers. I'm going to break them down into expanded form. No, that's not something I use daily. I don't know people who do. There might be someone out there who does in their job. I really don't know. But the reason why this is important for you, y'all know what Morgan looks like. The reason why this is important, not so much this, but, where are we? Oh, I guess we haven't done it yet. This, the expanded form, knowing place value. You need to know place value. Why, you ask? When you are adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing, you need to know your place value. Because if you don't line up your numbers correctly, it's going to mess you up. If you subtract a number that is in the tens place from a number that's in the hundreds place, are you going to get the right answer? What? No. You have to know the difference. You have to know that $100, 100 is more than a 10. I would much rather have 1,000 than a 1. I don't, but I would much rather have 1,000 than a 1. I'd much rather have 1,000,000. Man, I would retire right now. But I'd be out fishing, not right now, but you need to know the difference in number value. That's why we're teaching it to you. You need to have a sense of numbers. You need to know the difference. So anyway, with the thing with place value, the place value actually is very important. You need to be able to identify the place value because you need to line up your numbers correctly for addition and subtraction. And and all that other good stuff. So we're not just teaching it because they're telling us to, we're teaching it because it is important. Okay, so with B and C, it was write it in expanded form. So write it exactly like it is, and then look up. Not literally. That was still so funny. 3 times 1/10 plus 6 times 1/100 plus, out of room, 2 times 1/1000. You should have that. Yes, sir?
Is it okay if
He asked, is it okay if we did 0 times 1 first?
Yeah.
Yes, because there's nothing there. 0 times 1 is
0?
0. So you won't see it on tests or on homework. If you do it, that's fine. Just don't expect to see it on advanced. Because on things made by Engage, they just don't put it. So then 49, 5, 6, 4. 4 times 10. 9 times 1. 5 times 1/10. 6 times 100. 4 times 1,000. Should have that. Did anybody do the decimal form, or did you all do fraction? Okay. What? Write a decimal for the following. Use place value chart to help if necessary. And then, of course, if you needed to add the parentheses. Yeah. I'm not going to, because then I ended up dang it, covering up my numbers. I couldn't see them. 3 times 10, 5 times 1, 2 times 1/10, 7 times 100, 6 times 1,000. If I had this on a piece of paper with a pencil, I would have included my parentheses. But when I use my big fat smartboard marker, I cover up my numbers and it's messy. So you should have 35 and 276 thousandths. 9 times 100, 2 times 10, and then here you've got the decimal. So if you remember that this is, that's what those are. So 3 times 1/10, 7 times 1/7. So for B, you should not have 9, 2, 3, 7. Blank there, blank there. 920 and 307 thousandths. Because if you see, they did not do anything times a 1 in there. They left it off. 5 times 1,000, 4 times 100, 8. Oh, see, I wasn't looking. 8 times 1, 6 times 100, 5 times 1,000. 0, 0. 5,408 and man, 65 thousandths. I eat lunch and my brain just completely stopped working. Yep. That's okay. Jeez, Miss Strickland, get it together. Okay. This was not a subtraction problem. If you read it correctly, read what it says. At the beginning of the lesson, a piece of chalk is 4 and 875 inches long. At the end of the lesson, it is 3 and 125 inches long. Write the two amounts in expanded form using the fractions. It didn't ask you to subtract anything. It didn't say what is the difference. It said write it in expanded form. At the beginning of the lesson. At the beginning of the lesson. 4, 8, 7, 5. At the end of the lesson. At the end of the lesson. 3, 1, 2, 5. I know that's not expanded. I was just writing it down. I know. 4, 8, 7, 5. So it with the fractions. So 4 times 1 plus 8 times 1/10 plus 7 times 100 plus 5 times 1,000. Man, Friday. You really want homework over the weekend? Knock yourself out. Hey, she's like, yeah, go ahead. 3, 1, 2, 5. I mean, some people are just writing really fast right now. So 3 times 1 plus 1 times 1/10 plus 2 times 100 plus 5 times 1,000. Miss Herman asked the class to write an expanded form for that number. Nancy wrote the expanded form using fractions, and Charles wrote the expanded form using decimals. Write their responses. Oh my gosh, how easy is that? 4, 1, 2, 6, 3, 8. So I'm going to put an N for Nancy and a C for Charles, just so I can, separate things like I like to do. So 4 times 100. But you got to have 2 different expanded forms. Yeah. You have to write expanded form because that's what it tells you to do, right? Write what they wrote. 1 times 10. 2 times 1. And then Nancy did it with fractions. 6 times 1/10. 3 times 100. Go away. 8 times 1,000. Charles, 4 times 100. 1 times 10. 2 times 1. Then with these, it would be the decimals. 6 times 1/10. 3 times, do that. 8 times that. Still not subtracting anything because that's not what we're doing right now. Any questions? Oh, shouldn't be. This is if you do the place value chart, it's a million times easier than if you tried to do it in your head.
Because one problem I just tried to do it without the place I was charting and
Was it hard?
yes, very hard.
See? I told you. Okay. Yeah, see, Cameron said that he was trying to test out what I was saying, Malachi. Cameron said I tested it with one problem. He tried to do it without the place value chart. He said, I tested it. I tried one problem without the place value chart. And was it harder?
Yes.
Yes. So, I tell y'all, if you just do what I tell you to do, if there's an easy way to do something, I'm going to teach it to you. I'm not going to lie to you if it's easier. I'm gonna teach it to you and say, here, try this. Yeah.
I can sometimes get my head.
How?
What, this kind of stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, once you figure it out, it does get easier, but this is only the second day you've been doing it. So, right, so once you figure it out, it does get a lot easier, but this is only the second day. But even for me, sometimes, you saw it, I kind of screwed up on one, and I went, that's not it, and then I had to do it again. So, a good practice, even though you think you can, I don't want to sound rude when I say this. Even if you think you can do it in your head, still do it on the place value chart as a way to check it.
Yeah.
Okay, just to make sure. Because there's no harm in checking your work. Be like, okay, well, I think it's this. Let me check it.
Yeah,
So,
not like to see your work.
yeah, there's no liking. I want to see your work. I expect to see your work because I don't want to hear. I mean, I can't see your place value chart. So, a lot of the stuff on here, like on 1A through F, there's no work to show me. There's no work here, but this kind of stuff, that's all work. That's showing work. But you can't show me dry erase. Jackson, can you stop rolling your eyes? Thanks. So there's no way that you can show me stuff that you did dry erase. See what but I can tell if you get it all right, that you did what I asked you to do. If you get it all wrong, you didn't. Especially when we've been doing it for 2 days. Hey.
I showed this to my mom. She's like, I wish they had that in the other grades because it made my homework was so hard.
Oh, you're welcome. No, Miss Ballman actually copied those, so she gets credit for copying.